enough of the really, really bad singing. Nano rethink, ah, ah. Okay, so nano rethink, right? First thing I have to do is test all the board parts. This is actually a nano board connected to an SP1 stroke G1 top end, right? Now, I can't build this nano until I know that 100% all the new parts and all the fittings that I've put onto this board, which will then be screwed onto this gun, are airtight and working. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to gas this up. There we go. Right, so that's on. Or not. This fucking battery's duff, man. Or maybe the fittings are duff. Hang on. Let's try that again. There we go. Right, so that's confirmed. Your board and everything is now working because this solenoid was broken. Alright, so that's one leak we have got rid of. So now we can take this board off, put it back on this nano. But before we do that, proud timber! Before we do that, we're going to put that to one side and show you what I have in mind. Now, we've done this, haven't we? This goes in here like this. This is actually the regulator. It's quite clever, you know. You can't deny it's not clever. It is very clever. It's a fantastic. Look at that. That is a regulator. You wait until I take this to the airgun world. I'm going to blow their minds. Anyway, this regulator just has a hose that just simply pushes into it and seals on. There's a little O-ring that goes in there, but this hose only goes in that much. What, 3mm? It's not good, is it, lads? Right. So I've got to seal this hose in here. Let's get this out of the way so you can imagine where this sits. This sits like so. So the hose goes in here, and then there's an equivalent hole in the body. That's it. There's no fittings. There's no screw fittings. There's no barb fittings. Nothing like that, right? And it's quite hard to get fittings in there because there's really not any room to do it. And no, I know someone did suggest a push fit, but there is no room to put a push fit. Plus, I would also have to thread these ends, and if it's only 3mm deep, I'm not going to get a thread in there. As simple as that. So, what we have done, now, what we have come up with, is these tiny little brass fittings. Can you see them in the camera? Yeah. Now, these tiny little brass fittings will push. So, I really did want these to be a much tighter fit, and I thought they'd be bang on. So, I will be remaking them. Oh, that one's okay. That's nice. So, we're going to have one of them in either end. Yeah, still using the O-ring to seal it, and then the hose will push onto these fittings, but I'm really not happy with the one that's in here, buds. It really is diabolical. It really is pretty sad, but that's the plan. Just to let you know that I haven't been neglecting this gun, but what it is it's fitting it in around everything else. Because if I just sat and just worked on this hour after hour, then the bill's going to be stupidly ridiculous, and you don't want to be paying that. So what I'm going to do now is refit the board and everything to this gun. It does work in some peculiar ways. Once I get the board on this gun, I've got no way of inputting air to test the gun, because this is the input here. It's a really weird gun. I like weird, don't get me wrong. Now, once I've got the board on, I know that's 100%. And then once I've got this hose working, I know that's 100%. Then I can turn my attention to the fire chamber, and we can get down to sealing that. But I think that's going to be alright. I've already done a lot of seals and stuff in there, replaced all them with Lux items. So, we will see you anon. Just assembled it, all off camera, board in. We know that board is 100% now. I didn't use the brass fittings. I used what is apparently the standard cable for these gas line. So it just feels doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel like it's doing the job. It's not a tight fit. And apparently this is the genuine cable, but it feels a little bit too soft to me to be genuine. And so I put it, I bolt it all together, and unfortunately I do have a leak somewhere in this hose. I don't know where that leak is coming from. It could be from here, it could be from the top end, but because you can't run the gun stripped down, you've got absolutely no way to know where the leak is coming from. Fucking hell, man. So, I am going to have to go for the push fittings with the threads on. I've got, just zero this off. Come on. If we use this as a depth gauge, we can measure this one here. I've got nearly just shy of 7mm at this end, so I can put a thread in this end. And what I'm thinking is taking one of these as a standard sort of GOG ion type barb fitting 1032 thread. So we're going to tap this to 1032, I'm going to drop that in. We've got to take the nut and everything else off, otherwise you won't be able to put the trigger frame on. I might have to make some modifications to the trigger frame, but of course once this threaded part is in place, then I can connect a hose directly to the gun without using this pistol grip frame. At least then we can start eliminating where the leaks are, which is the most important thing to do, elimination. Otherwise we're going to be here all week trying to do this. And like I say, I'm trying to fit this in between other stuff to keep the price down. And we're not having a lot of Captain. This is a little bitch. At least I'm not singing. I could do though. So I'm going to have to tap this somehow. I'll have to mount this, do a vertical mount for this. 4.13, yeah, so I could use a drill shaft. Yeah, cool. So what I could do, we put this in the drill chuck and the mill, then we put this in the vise, and we keep dropping this down with the milling machine until we get a perfect alignment. That's our tapping point, that's where we can tap from. So then that way we know 100% that whatever we're tapping in here, because remember we've got such a limited amount of space to do any tapping, we cannot afford to make any mistakes on this, that we're at that tap aligned first time perfectly, and that this thing isn't this way, isn't this way, isn't this way, or it isn't this way. Very, very important to get that sorted. Yeah, this is fucking gun's an absolute nightmare, man. So there we go, more nano rethink. Bloody hell, man, this thing is terrible. It's clever and bad at the same time. If they'd only just done something a little bit better with this fitting, the whole system wouldn't. Till the next exciting saga of Nano 50 Cal. I'll see you later, buds. Bye bye.